Thanks everyone for joining the bi-weekly proposal review call. As I mentioned, there's quite a hefty agenda we have today with quite a few exciting updates and new proposals on the forum. And to kick us off today, Rafa was actually going to give a little overview of this foundation proposal pipeline update that was shared by Marco from the ZKsync Foundation yesterday on the forum. The Marco and Ben, unfortunately, were unable to make the call today at this time, so they promised to join the next proposal review call in 2 weeks. But happy to take any questions or ideally drop them on the forum if you guys have them, but happy to discuss a little bit today with what that was posted. And yeah, we'll have Rafa jump in and do a little overview of that once he joins. But yeah, so just to kick us off, let's dive into some of the proposal updates. So there's a few just really quick ones. So TPP-6 was passed and executed last week, so that one is done and dusted. TPP-7, the ZKsync Guardians funding proposal, is on. Voting is live right now on the forum, and the quorum has been met already. Voting will close on Friday. If you haven't voted yet, you're still able to vote on that proposal until Friday about 6:30 p.m. UTC time. And the last update of existing proposals that we've talked about before is for ZIP-12, the V29 upgrade that has been on the forum for a minute. Alicia, did you have an update to share here on when folks can expect to see this go on chain?
Just that there were some bugs discovered in testnet, and so not until everything is resolved. But I don't think it will be this. I don't think it will be this week. So hopefully next week.
Okay, great. Thanks for the update there. And I'm just sharing some of the links to these proposals in the chat here if you folks want to go take a look. Great. Then now that Rafa's here, I will actually pass it back to Rafa to do a quick overview of the foundation proposal pipeline update that was posted from the foundation yesterday.
So really sorry Marco and Ben couldn't join today, but I believe they'll be joining in the next meeting. I think for those of you who are following the Telegram announcements, or are subscribed to the forum, there have been quite a couple of posts recently. The foundation posted kind of like a pipeline like roadmap a couple months ago, and I know I've been talking to Marco and Ben and kind of getting a sense of where their heads at, and fortunately, we got a really comprehensive update from the foundation that really kind of clarifies where we are in terms of the execution and provides a broader narrative. One of the things to think about here is that, as I mentioned in the first paragraph, which is sustainable and secure protocol development, there's been quite a couple of proposals that have been front-loaded with regards to operational execution of the governance system. So this included the audit reimbursements program, Security Council bridge funding, Security Council yearly funding, the Guardians funding. I believe there's still a couple more to come. I know from the foundation has asked us to put together a proposal for governance infrastructure and services for the next year, which will include like costs for the voting portal, for smart contract development, Minter mod research, and so on and so forth. So you can expect that to come soon. And also, I think there's also another proposal in development for protocol research and development. So I don't have more information than that with regards to it, but sustainability is definitely a big theme. Obviously, this was front loaded, and the two other big themes, so sustainability is the first one. We've got Providium and tokenomics. So with Providium, there's Marco and Ben and the team at Matter Labs have been telling us about how much positive market sentiment and momentum they've received since the announcement of the Memento and Deutsche Bank MVP pilot and the Providium offering. There's a bunch of different use cases with regards to it. And I know that a series of proposals are in the works. I think community activation pilot is already there. There's going to be a prize program for Providium that I'm hoping will be in the forum later this week. We saw an advanced draft of it and provided some feedback in terms of how they should structure it. And I'm sure there will be more, because at the end of the day, something that I've learned with regards to kind of like layer twos and the go to market is there's this pipeline between brand awareness into kind of like pilot definition into mainnet deployment and into chain maturity with both assets and activity. So I think what the foundation has been talking to us about is developing proposals that hit all the different areas of that pipeline. So that's really cool to see, and we're working closely with them in terms of making sure that those proposals are designed appropriately. And then the final topic, so tokenomics. So we had sustainability, Providium, and tokenomics. So kind of like a three-prong approach to ZKsync. The tokenomics, I'm working closely with Scopelift for upgrading the token contract and with Matter Labs. So this will include the burn function, which is a foundational step for future tokenomics opportunities, and then the staking pilot program. So I know the foundation has been working with Tally, and we've been providing some advisory and some guidance there as well. So we can get the first ZK token staking program over the line. Both of these are in the final stages. Hopefully we'll see them on the forum soon. The token burn function will take a little bit longer because it depends on some upgrades that are happening in the version 29 of the protocol upgrade. So that'll be more towards the latter half of September. But the staking pilot program, hopefully soon, So that's about it. And hope that update is good.
Yeah, thanks, Rafa, for stepping in last minute here for the foundation here that unfortunately couldn't make it to this call today. Anybody have any questions or any reactions, I guess, to share to the update that was shared? I don't know if folks have had time to read it yet. It's pretty recent. Okay, that's also totally fine. Like I said, we'll have Marco and Ben promise to be on the next proposal review call in 2 weeks. So they, so you guys can also save up your questions or think of some questions until then, or leave them on the forum as well if you prefer. Great. Okay, then we'll return to the rest of the agenda. So next up will be the TPP-Draft for the ZKsync community activation pilot program that was just posted on the forum today. And also we have, unfortunately, because Ben and Marco were unable to make this call today, Rafa will be giving the overview of this one as well. Thanks, Rafa.
Should I put Steven on the call here Steven, do you want to talk a little bit about this?
I can talk about it as well. I mean, it's up to you guys.
Yeah. I think we should go for it.
Okay.
I know you're part of the program contributors here, and you've been
Yeah,
working with
yeah.
the foundation on this.
I-
So
Yeah.
might
So,
be a good time. Might be a good time to say hello.
Oh, yeah, sure. So hi, everyone. I'm Steve. I work at Matter Labs. I'm part of the BD team. So I've been working and talking with the foundation as they've been, and working with our community members as they've been drafting this community activation pilot program. So to give a brief TLDR, this is allocating essentially 20 million ZK tokens over the next 12 months to run a pilot program to basically test community funding for the ZKsync ecosystem and network, right? The good thing of turning a negative into a positive, the funding for this is coming from the April 2025 compromise admin key hack that happened, where we recovered, I believe it was around 112 million ZK tokens from the hacker. So that all went back to the token assembly, and it's been sitting in the token assembly governor time lock wallet to be used for future governance initiatives. So because we're tapping into that for this program, there won't be any new cap minters. There won't be any new ZK tokens minted. These are tokens that have already been minted, are out in the wild and waiting to be used. And I know that a common criticism that has been brought up many times, and I agree with you, is that there hasn't been too many programs that are 100% focused on the community, right? So we talked with various individuals in the community, and we created this program to essentially grow the ZKsync Elastic network and also give back to the community and involve the community in working with this. So there's basically two parts to this program. So it's 20 million ZK tokens. The first part is pre-approved programs. So the pre-approved programs are the formerly known as ZK Amigos, but it's ZKsync LATAM, ZK Nomist, and basically Discord admins and online educators. So these are all people that we've actually been working with as a part of either they've been working directly with the ZKsync Foundation or Matter Labs. So for example, ZKsync LATAM team has been going around all throughout Latin America, mainly based in Argentina, but also Brazil and Chile. And they go around and they host local events and basically IRL events to spread ZKsync across Latin America. They've been extremely successful, and they have basically, if you guys look, ZKsync is one of the top protocols and top ecosystems throughout all of Argentina. And this is in large part because of the ZKsync LATAM team, Amigos, that used to be called Amigos. They're amazing. And this is basically funding that crazy after offices. Yeah. They have good times there. I'm hoping that I can come down during that my schedule is freed up, that I can come down during DevCon to hang out. I've heard that it's just a great time in Argentina, in Buenos Aires at their offices. So yeah, so they have been doing great work for us. And actually in the beginning of this year, we passed a community grant proposal that was funded by the ZKsync Foundation to support these three initiatives in particular, and a few other things. But yeah, that ended in August. So we wanted to keep this going. And then since they're doing work for the entire Elastic network and the entire ZKsync ecosystem, we felt like it was a great opportunity to utilize some of these recovered hack funds to help promote the community and keep expanding on their great work that they're doing down there. ZK Nomist, I'm sure a lot of you guys already know them, but they were also getting funded from this creator program that was run through Gitcoin at the beginning of the year that was funded by ZKF. This is why these guys were already pre-approved, by the way, because they've done all the KYC, KYB. They've worked with the ZKsync Foundation and already been paid by them since the beginning of the year to basically spread the word of ZKsync. ZK Nomist, they're a content creation and marketing team. You can think of them kind of like a marketing agency, and they have been doing this for, I would say, 2 years, over a year now. And yeah, they're great. We really like them. We get along with them well. And this is also, this is also another thing that has been brought up by the community a lot, but that ZKsync, we come out with the best tech in the industry, but our marketing hasn't always been the best, which we totally understand and we totally acknowledge. So basically, ZKnomist will be stepping in here and getting funding through here to really ramp up their production and expanding basically the marketing apparatus of ZKsync and the Elastic network. So basically, let's say Abstract comes out with something cool. ZKnomist is going to reach out to Abstract, either have like a spaces with them, which they do spaces every Thursday, or they're going to create videos about that. It's really just about like amplifying that marketing muscle, because these guys are all like crypto native. They're on Twitter or X 24/7. They have their fingers on the pulse, and we trust them, and they know ZKsync a lot, and they've proven themselves over the past year that they're really just in touch with our community and they want to help us grow. So we felt like it was a really good opportunity to give back to them and to help them fund their initiatives of basically growing the marketing pie for ZKsync. And then the last thing is online educators. So we'll suggest Ben adds these links to. Oh, okay, yeah. So and the last one is online educators. These are people that we've been working with for a long time. If you've been in the ZKsync Discord, you've interacted with them. These are our amazing mods and admins in the ZKsync Discord to basically ensure that they have funding to keep doing the amazing work that they're doing. There's like 600,000 people in the Discord, and they run it really well. It's a very difficult job, as everyone here, I'm sure, is aware. And yeah, so we wanted to give back to them. So these are basically the pre-approved function. So that's the first like third of the funding is going to these pre-approved that we've already worked with. We know that they're good, and we know that they've been working hard for a long time to broaden ZKsync ecosystem and spread the word of ZKsync and basically the entire Elastic network. And then we get to the second part, which is an open RFP call. So this is also something that has been asked about for a long time, where the remaining 13.6 million ZK tokens will be allocated to open RFPs. So this is just essentially like if people, actually, Shelby, if you scroll down a little bit, I think we have, yeah. There's basically RFP categories that people can request money for, and they will basically come up in these broad RFP categories to come up with things, ideas, initiatives to help grow the Elastic network and ZKsync as a whole. And yeah, where this is something also that's been asked for a long time by the community and also by fellow delegates, and we 100% agree, and we want something that like is able to like go fast. So how this is set up as a proposal is that the ZKsync Foundation, since technically the ZKsync Foundation, their guiding principle is growing the Elastic network and growing ZKsync ecosystem. They are the ones that are going to be basically the steerco in charge of this program. So when people submit open RFPs, it'll be reviewed by the ZKsync Foundation, and then they'll make a decision on it. And the whole point is trying to make it like quick and make it like smooth and not too much not too much like what's called
bureaucracy. It's the
yeah
word.
Exactly, bureaucratic process that can slow things down, unfortunately, with governance programs that we all are aware of. The whole point is like it's not a huge amount of money. It is a large sum, but it's also all for the community, and we want to get this out quickly, and it's a pilot program. So the whole point of this is like move fast and experiment. I know that we've been getting a lot of feedback, and I have the same feedback as well, that governance can take a while, and we haven't had too many proposals that are going out and TPPs are going out, and there's a lot of great ideas, but like things haven't really hit the road. So that's why we wanted to do this pilot program, get it out quickly, and yeah, just start giving back to the community, and then basically funding the community to help expand the reach of ZKsync. So that's I just talked for like a long time. That's basically an overview of the entire proposal. I highly recommend everyone just read it, drop any comments that you have, and we will be in the forum answering any questions or anything like that. Yeah, Ivy.
Hey guys, how's everything? So good to see ZKsync Latam and ZK Amigos, their friends as well. So good to see they are acknowledging that effort. Had this question, Stephen, like, on the first program you mentioned, right, the one with Gitcoin, like how did that like work out? Like, what are the main differences or challenges you are seeing, and why is the overall reason of presenting like this new version of a community incentives program? I see they differ very much, but just wondering what's your take on like what did one try to accomplish, what this is trying to accomplish?
Yeah, so the Gitcoin program, I would say it was moderately successful in the fact that we were able to get the program up and running and get this funding for these teams, but it was really messy. And also Gitcoin has kind of like changed their structure, so they're really not trying to do those things anymore. Also, it was like run by like a third-party provider. So realistically speaking, there was a lot of learnings from the Gitcoin experiment, like community experiment, that things that went right and things that went wrong. And we think that basically bringing it in-house and having it be run by the token assembly is just a lot more streamlined and also a lot more public, because the Gitcoin one was also like, it was like kind of a closed box, and how we want to have everything moving forward, especially with any of these community initiatives, we want it to be public facing so people can see what is happening. And if things are going well, then we can celebrate those wins. And if things are not going well, we can get feedback from the community and people can point those things out and we can just quickly change them and move forward, you know? So I honestly think that it's better for it to be run through the token assembly so that it's public and everyone knows what's happening, instead of kind of like off to the side and like, maybe things are good, maybe things are not good. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And actually, it's a great point, because I always wonder like why there aren't any firm updates in the program, right? I know it's foundation led, so it's not exactly DAO led, but whatever. And so that's a great point. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think yeah.
Oh, no. Sorry.
No, like the governor in me just kind of regrets we don't have a cap minter for this one, at least to some extent. I know there are going to be other chances to try, all of the stack in our programs, but I guess this one was kind of a good chance. But I understand there's some trade-offs, right? So
yeah. So I do. I was just gonna say I do hear you, and I think that this is why I like that this is a pilot program, right? So it's really more about testing the waters and moving fast. And if this goes really well, then I think the next phase of this will be a completely open program, completely run by the governors, right? And like not have basically the ZKsync Foundation having to like run everything, and we can just like learn from those and then move forward and make it a lot more DAO led. But again, in this like process of like moving fast and getting things on like live and TPPs rolled out, like I think that it's smarter to just like we have the foundation kind of like take the reins on this, and it's a smaller pilot program, and then we learn, and then we do the big program DAO led after we have these learnings, and we can move forward. And then as one other side note is like, I do agree, like we especially with the call the other week about all the updates that we have made to the Cap Minter programs. It's by Factory DAO is amazing. It feels a little, I'm like, we just had all these great updates to the Cap Minters and we're not using them. But at the same time, this is like, turning a negative into a positive. These are the recovered hack funds. That was a big negative, of course, but using them to boost the community and promote the community, I think is really the best course of action that we could use with these. But yeah.
So, and I'll just jump in here really quickly too with a few points. So one thing I know that they did decide to include, given the lack of cap minter usage in this program, was to at least try to use a distribution contract for distributing the funds. So there's a little bit of a mechanic in there from the TPP Builder series, if you guys remember that. I know that the spirit of trying to still like make it some sort of mechanic is still there, even though it's with the minted ZK that's in the time lock. This is also maybe an interesting point to point out what Rafa has mentioned earlier with the token burn function that will eventually be enabled. This will probably be one of the very few proposals that we will ever have with minted tokens in the future once the burn function is enabled. There's some more possibilities we can consider what to do with the minted tokens currently in the time lock. So yeah, this is probably one of the very few ones. I'm also absolutely heartbroken that we don't get to use cat minters for this, guys. But yeah, so not our favorite in terms of mechanic distribution side, but yeah, just wanted to point this point out here as well in the proposal. We'll get there. We are getting there, yeah. What does anybody else have any questions for Stephen or for the foundation that we can note down to? Okay. Great. Thank you so much, Stephen, for jumping in and providing a great overview of the proposal. Please go give it a review, leave your comments, questions on the forum so that we can have an open discussion, and then yeah, we'll definitely be chatting about this again on the next call as well. So yeah, thanks folks, or thanks Stephen for jumping in on that. Okay, so moving along, because we still have quite a few things to get through today. Next up is another new proposal draft that was posted on the forum this week, which is you guys are killing me with the names here. Funding research for a DAO liveness security and decentralization dashboard for ZKNation proposal.
Yeah, a very catchy name. I was kind of going back and forth in titles, and I was like, hey, this is really catchy.
It's great. We can work on the title. Acronym.
Yeah, so basically we presented this like a while back and have been refining that, and I think it also comes at a very good time at the moment, because like I think Rafa mentioned that governance and DAO liveness is super important to monitor. Like how many delegates does it take to pass a proposal? How quick is voting happening to pass critical security updates and so on and so forth? So I think that part still stands. But then now I think MiCA is already in effect since last July, so July 24. And we recently talked to the wonderful guys at the DeFi Education Fund. Can just highly recommend these people. They really like hold the torch high for decentralized finance. And they talked to us about the ongoing development of the Clarity Act. And okay, so the whole thing, like nothing's set in stone yet. It's still a quite lengthy process that it has to go through. But from what we're hearing, there will be some requirements around decentralization to get preferential treatment under regulation. And so we are also proposing to monitor what kind of decentralization is achieved. And I think decentralization has multiple dimensions. One, of course, is like voting power distribution. I think that's quite easy to understand. But underneath the surface, then there's also, hey, is everything funded by basically a single entity? Is everything developed by a single entity? So there are different layers of decentralization. We would develop this dashboard to kind of surface where the ZKNation is as a DAO under these different dimensions, so that it's easy to gauge if the whole thing is progressing in the right direction. Like in the proposal, if you read it, like there's quite substantial scope that we mentioned. This is basically our like maximum offering, so to say. Like if you go into the car shop and then you pick like all the extras, this would be it. But we're also happy to just like focus on one or two aspects, and the budget, of course, depends on what in the end the community is most excited about. If there's no opposition against one or more items, we would continue to just try to propose the whole thing, because we think it's a good, well-rounded package, and we'll also like offer a very competitive price to ZKNation. But I think all in all, I think this fits really well with the ethos of transparency and monitoring. And it will also build upon the excellent work that Rafa and Shelby did with their Doom dashboard. So yeah, just like expanding that and adding some more dimensions and just infusing a lot of the scientific progress we've made with our analytics product Foresight in the last year. Yeah, well, yeah. So if there's any questions, yeah, I'm here, happy to answer. Also, of course, on the forum, on Telegram, if you'd rather write me. Doors open.
Great. Thank you, Raphael, for the presentation. And any initial questions or reactions? Okay. I do have one initial reaction to the first point you have here. So some of the parameters that are listed here are already covered in the governance performance dashboard that was created by the association, if it will load. So yeah, so all of the just general governance performance metrics, percentage of circulating supply quorum, number of delegates, or total delegated supplies, total as the total token supply, days to quorum, number of delegates who reach proposal threshold, capture metrics, and just other kind of delegate trends and active delegate voting power, stuff like that. So a lot of it's already included here. So I would just like to point out, or maybe one point to take into account would be making sure that we don't have duplicate work there. Was my initial, I guess, reaction to this. And I don't know if you have any thoughts to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I think when we designed the terminal, like we definitely looked at this as basically the starting point. So like there's no interest to develop anything duplicates that is already there. I think some of the analysis we would like take a deeper look to see if we can improve them. If we can, then we would do so. Otherwise, it just like cuts development time, of course, and we can just like stand on the shoulders of giants, so to say.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Any other questions or comments to share initially here? Okay. Great. Well, thank you so much for presenting, Raphael.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, as he said, if there's any lingering comments and questions, always encouraged to drop them on the forum for an open discussion. Okay, then that actually concludes our proposal update portion of the call today. There's a few fun ecosystem, I guess, or more Minter mod updates to share. Even more fun Minter mod updates, as Stephen mentioned, after we had the Factory Labs presentation of the trigger mod last week. There's another one. But before we dive into that, I did want to just call out this this post that we shared on the forum yesterday. So it's a TPP sponsor bounty pilot program. And the purpose of this program, or it's an kind of independent pilot initiative that's funded by the ZKsync Association. So it's not a proposal, it's not a TPP, it's not requesting money or anything. It's a kind of like a experimental donation coming from the association operational budget. And it is what it is essentially a small, basically, reward to delegates who meet proposal thresholds, so 21 million ZK voting power, who are sponsoring TPPs that are then successfully passed and executed on chain. Over the past, or since governance has launched, we've helped support proposal sponsors with the submission of on-chain of TPPs on-chain, and in that process we realized there's actually quite a bit of time and also technical revision that has to take place before submission can be finalized. So just to kind of recognize the time and effort required that goes into delegate sponsorship of token programs, we wanted to try out this little pilot program that would reward $250 USDC to delegate sponsors who sponsor proposals that are successfully approved by the token assembly and then executed on chain. This is a really small program. Again, it's coming out of the association operations budget, but it's a total of 4K or 4,000 USDC, and it will be a kind of first come, first serve situation. Will go until it runs out. To be eligible for this program, as I already mentioned, sponsor a proposal that is successfully executed on chain. The eligibility period is dated from Q3, or because we're still in Q3, 2025 until whenever it runs out. And yeah, and it's only for TPPs, just because gaps don't actually require any proposal code to be added, so they're a little bit simpler to submit, and zips are kind of a whole other beast in story. So this initial pilot program is just focused on token program proposals submitted on the token governor. So yeah, and there's a few proposals that were submitted in Q3 who will also qualify for this program as well, and they're listed here. You can, if you qualify, please reach out to the governance team, and we can coordinate the bounty. And then the last note I'll say here is, if you're a delegate who meets proposal threshold and you're interested in submitting TPPs in the future, you can fill out this Google form. It's not like an official form of any kind or like a selection form. It's really just so we're aware of like interest of delegates who meet proposal threshold to be able to maybe go to for first proposal sponsorship of future TPPs. So yeah, any questions or reactions to that? I just wanted to drop a quick note in case anybody didn't see it yesterday. Okay, cool. Then we can move on to everybody's favorite topic, the governance team's favorite topic, minter mods and additional functionality for cat minters. So if you've been following along, there's been quite a few minter mods that have been in development over the last few months. The one we'll be talking about today is the delay mod. Shout out to Scopelift, who was not only very heavily involved, but led the design process for this and developed this mod. So if you've been following along, again, there's been, we've mentioned at various different points in time 4 minter mods that have been in development. Minter mods, again, are simple smart contracts that can be hooked onto or kind of linked to a cat minter contract to allow for additional functionality or kind of composability of how tokens are minted, or allowance of token rights, or token minting rights on cat minters. So 3 are now officially like live, can be used in token mechanic creation and development. And the last one, there's one more, which is in the finalization process and actually also being audited currently. So once that's done, we'll have a full toolkit of minter mods to use for cat minters. So that's really exciting. We heard a few weeks ago from Rafa on the rate limiter mod, and we heard on the last proposal review call from Factory Labs on the trigger mod. And today we are going to talk about the delay mod. So to dive into it, the delay mod is it can be linked to any cat minter to allow for a time delay between the mint request and mint execution. This creates a veto window, which will allow the admin of the delay mod to review and also reject a mint request given on a given cat minter, or the cat minter that it's linked to. So cool, what does that mean? Or what does that look like in practice? So in practice, this enables token programs to be self-serve, similar to the rate limiter mod, which we'll talk about in a minute, but it also allows for flexible minting allowance, which you don't have with the rate limiter. So to provide an example to help visualize what this actually means, or what you can do with this potentially, if you have a token program that has a service provider, say a marketing team or an analytics team or whoever, and they have a service agreement to provide up to 100K ZK worth of services each month during the duration of the program. Each month, the service provider can request to mint payment for the work completed that month, or up to 100,000 ZK from the program cat minter. This is the self-serve part. So this is instead of Steerco having to mint and distribute tokens to a service provider monthly. But if the service provider requests is not aligned to the monthly service agreement. So for example, if they request 200K ZK to be minted for that month, or if they request 100,000 ZK, but they only did 80K worth of work, then the admin or Steerco is able to deny that mint request during the veto window that's created with the delay mod. So is really, really cool additional functionality to the cat minter minting rights here. And I mentioned earlier the self-serve piece also already being enabled with the rate limiter. If you remember, the rate limiter proposes a rate limit on how much can be minted from a cat minter at any given time. So if same thing, service provider is minting like 100K, they're allowed to mint 100K a month, etc., ZK a month over a specified amount of time. What this does, you can kind of do the same thing, but it's it allows for flexibility in how much is being minted monthly, and that delay allows for the review and veto of that, and that can be useful for a few different reasons, and I'll go over that in a minute. So just for a visualization, because I'm a visual learning gal, this is kind of what a delay mod would look like. So you have your cat minter, very simplified with a cap of 1 million, delay mod. So you have a user request come in to mint from this cat minter. It will go through the delay mod, and if that user request is misaligned with whatever was agreed on or expected, the admin of the delay mod can veto that request. Now, to make it interesting, let's look at an example if you have it hooked up also with a rate limiter. So if we use that same example from before with the service provider requesting 100K ZK to be minted, or up to 100 ZK able to be minted in a month, and we apply it to this setup. So having the rate limiter here actually provides like an extra security check in your token mechanic thread, so that it's impossible no matter what for a service provider, for example, to mint over a certain amount, or whoever it is, to mint over a certain amount. So let's use the same example of, okay, user request, they have a contract to provide up to 100K ZK services a month. They request to mint 100K from this cat minter. There's no problems with it. It goes through. There's no veto involved. It complies with the rate limit that's been set. It's executed. If the user requests 200K, and there's delay mod, say maybe even the admin or like they miss the veto window, you still have that kind of fail safe of only being able to mint up to 100 ZK from this tap minter. So it provides that like extra level of kind of like protection and enforceability in your chain of minting rights here. So, and one thing that's one example I did want to point out here too, because it's been a discussion, it's been like an open discussion on a few different proposals now. What this really unlocks or starts to help unlock is being able to have USD denomination in proposals, but still have that like programmatically kind of limited in your token mechanic design. So for example, if say the user or say the service provider was contracted to provide 100K USD services, if monthly or whatever it is, that's a lot for a month, but 100K USD for a month or 10K for a month, that service provider could do a 30-day average calculation every month, submit to account for token price volatility, submit the request to mint in this delay mod. The admin can do its own review and check verification that the calculation is correct, or maybe eventually you could even hook up some sort of like Oracle to confirm a 30-day average calculation. And if it's correct, it can go. It will then move through the kind of checks here in the minter mod chain or the token mechanic chain to be able to mint. So this is what I was talking about when I was mentioning that it allows for more like flexible minting allowance here. The example here is like if you have like flexible service agreements or like unclear how much work will be needed or provided each month, like marketing, I think is a good example of this one, like how much marketing you'll need done every month. Or just another thing to kind of start calling out here is as it's starting to unlock that like ability to have like USD denomination and then have your the delay mod, the review process, the veto process here, and then also you can have, keeping the rate limiter in the discussion, you can also have like a cap on this as well, set on that as well. So this is, yeah, yet another fun tool that is now in our token mechanics toolkit to use for token mechanics development. And as we're thinking of kind of programmatic enforceability or composability of minting rights for token programs going forward. So I will shut up and open the floor for any questions folks have. Or none, that's also okay. If you want to look at the source code for the delay mod, you can find it here. I just dropped it in the chat and I'll include it in the notes as well. But yeah, that's actually all I had for you folks. So anybody have any other questions or comments before we close out the call? No? Okay, that's also all right. Thank you everyone for joining, and thanks to all the presenters who joined. The next call in 2 weeks, we'll have the foundation folks also join to provide some more context or answer any questions that people have on their foundation proposal pipeline update, and also the community activation program that was posted on the forum today. I will have call notes, recording, all that jazz up by tomorrow. And we will see all of you folks next call in 2 weeks. Thank you, everyone.